Alex Answer here. It's October 20th in the year 2018. So we're going to be talking about Elon Musk and going a little bit deeper than the normal speculation that people have about him. Now, there was a video on this channel a few years ago that I uploaded, and it gets into the speculations regarding what are they really doing if they're not actually able to go as far as the moon or Mars, for example. Is there a plan to deceive people and maybe even send back holograms or digitally enhanced depictions of people that supposedly went off-world? And actually use an example in that video, which is now no longer on YouTube, so I'm going over the basics, but I showed the original Total Recall, and how he goes in to have this trip to Mars, which is really something that's officially in his mind a simulation. But then there's other things that come out. And so with regards to that being used as predictive programming, as we see this rise in news coverage regarding Mars, a lot of people don't believe that they were told the full truth about the moon on a lot of different levels, not just one. Without spending a lot of time on that, the greater reality is, what are they really preparing the masses for, right? What are they really preparing the masses for? Look at the geopolitical crisis that's now unfolding. Is it possible that they're manufacturing certain things on the ground to make it look even more desirable for people to go off-world? And so Elon Musk has also positioned himself to be seen as someone that's concerned with AI and the robot apocalypse. And it seems, and we're going to get to some articles here, it seems that he has positioned himself, or others rather, in the media, powerful people, positioned him to play a pop culture. The Musk will save you. The Elon Musk, savior of the modern day peasantry, looking into their iPhone and seeing this world of controlled media and talking points and political celebrities. And we see Elon Musk and his connections to the White House and others with their plans of going off-world. What is the real agenda? Also, things get a little creepier and stranger with regards to cryptocurrency. There are certain companies out there that are talking about monetizing our data, like Timmy Coin. Do any of you know anything about this Timmy Coin? And why would some people be pumping it? Or what is the real agenda, potentially, behind Timmy Coin and some of these other things that are erupting in the world of cryptocurrency? So I'm just going to read you some basic things. This is from Coast to Coast. AM. Right now, it's not showing me the Firefox browser, but I'm going to work on showing you that when possible, the actual article. But Musk reveals plans for Mars mission. And what I want to focus on without going on and on is that they're focusing on 2022 or 222. Now, I'm not coming at you with the typical occult decoding symbolism type of video, but rather, I've always felt that this would be a time where there'd be certain types of energies on our planet. A lot of things would be erupting. We've talked about the geopolitical realities already. It won't be our major focus in this video, but that's more or less indicative of the intense energy changes that we're going to be going through, from the solar cycles to the also cosmic rays and whatever that's going to be bringing us through the solar minimum. But the other side of the solar minimum, the cosmic rays, we're going to be dealing with the solar maximum, the reality of the cycles of war and the cycles of the sun. But with those particular cycles of the sun and the solar maximum, I think there could be certain celestial energies the powers that be could be trying to manipulate, maybe open up certain doorways, way more advanced than CERN. And there's also things, though, that are put in science fiction, like Stargate, where they talk about, in the secret government project, using the grid for power to operate CERN. What about using the power of the sun? Certainly, I think they're using the power of the sun to enhance particular attempts to modify the weather. That type of technology, that type of mad science. So Elon Musk and his plans for 2022, interesting time period. You know what comes to mind? Also that platform scene from They Live, where they go up to the platform and, well, there's some discussions about a platform. Is there some sort of like a space station that they're trying to create? Because that's what's coming up in my mind. Like they're talking about all this money to go, oh, we're going to make it to Mars, or we're going to do all this stuff in Mars. And there's all these documentaries now for the kids now, prepare to work in Mars in your future. Why are they so confident? They're certainly confident in some sort of a program where they think they're going somewhere. Where will they be going? And so is Elon Musk a part of an alien agenda? It's interesting how alien agenda stuff is so popular, like I said, on Netflix and other video platform sites. But we could be distracted by what the real alien agenda is when it's right there in front of our very eyes. People make it fiction, and they make it comical, and they make jokes about people that talk about aliens, and there's all these stereotypes, right? But it's actually quite serious. Now, right? People joke about people that say that they've been sexually assaulted by aliens. Not very funny. I do believe that there is something to that phenomena, and I think it's bigger than just what people call my lab, government projects. I'm summarizing a lot of my concerns. I think there's epochs or cycles where they come in, the veil's thinner. I kid you not. Now, there could have been agreements between Eisenhower and those Greys in the past. Who's to say whether those meetings are true or not? Certainly the alien autopsy videos is questionable, but there's certain periods where there's an escalation of certain types of phenomena. Roswell, for example, occurred when there was a large sunspot. That's some information I came across when putting together my presentation. If it did come from somewhere else or there was some phenomena, there could be a connection there. But what really has my interest is the stories. For example, Chris O'Brien looked into the cattle mutilations in the 1970s and 1980s in the San Luis Valley. There seemed to be a cycle to that, a wave, if you will, of the cattle mutilations of the San Luis Valley, but also in conjunction with an increase. I don't know, the aliens must have loved the disco. John Travolta did play an alien in Battleship Earth. Something about the 70s and 80s, and maybe even that birth wave, which I was a part of, interesting time period. Also interesting movie, Flight of the Navigator. A lot of predictive programming from, was it Disney in that movie? But it's the idea that I'm sharing with you that's been in the back of my mind, that some of these cycles, and I think that they're cycles, are cycles of periods in which, from the solar cycle and the solar maximum, the veil is thinner to a certain degree. That which gives us life and also grows your plants could also be boosting up other phenomena. And I think that there's been some studies on the increase in hauntings, ghost apparitions, and geomagnetic storms. And you can find a couple ghost hunter references to that. I think that phenomena is very interesting. So is there potential? Is there potential to something going on, including on the other side? The other side of the solar maximum is the solar minimum. And solar minimum brings miscarriages, an increase in miscarriages. Miscarriages could also be linked to questionable other phenomena like a missing womb, since we are in this arena of speculation. So it could be possible that there are periods in which the energies that the Earth is going through in conjunction with the sun and other celestial influences, doorways could be opening. And there could also be plans to prep generations to where there could be one type of abduction or one type of manipulation. Extracting, for example, the human sperm and the female egg. And I would even say of particular bloodlines. And years later, there could be a plan for another group or the same group, for example, to be manipulating again. And it seems like, we've talked about the predictive programming of Lady Gaga, not lately, but, why would they put things like that out there? And there are even other things that are very questionable as well that seem to promote alien-human relationships that are on the internet. There are also other things that are in the news. This is just a side topic as we're discussing this. I didn't want to load too much here. And I'm doing this without the generator, so I'm running off battery. But I just wanted to... First mammal with two mothers is born as gene editing breakthrough creates mouse with no father. So these breakthroughs are happening. Different types of cloning. China also going beyond where the West is in the arena of AI, according to what we've been reading. They're also buying off elections and manipulating Vancouver. That's other news. All these things are happening during this period in time as Elon Musk and others, he's not alone, are seen as those that are actually trying to save mankind with their off-world endeavors. What is really going on? Now, before I get to the next article, we have the reality also with China and the moon 2020. And I've said for years by design that they seem to have been positioned along with Russia to be in whatever position that they're in time for this next conflict. So it'll seem all accidental. They weren't planning this conflict. They just happened to be in control of the ISI. along with Russia. So keep this in mind. Now, there are, of course, periods where they're dealing with elements of space weather, which they're still studying, and it can be complicated for their space exploration, whether it's the official stuff or the stuff that's top secret, stuff that we're doing, and then there's stuff that China's involved in, Russia and the European Space Agency. Some satellites come down as a result of this. I refer to this as the Tower of Babel crashing down. So, right, we really don't know what's going on. There's different potentials, but elements of the power elite of the Earth trying to scramble and get out while they can. And people like Elon Musk and others being kind of a front for this. And obviously this being more of a slave colony than people really living with freedoms. Who knows what type of reality this could be. And again, we have a lot of predictive programming with regards to movies that don't seem to have prepped us for this. And a lot of stuff within our own lore, mythologies of civilizations that have come from Mars to Earth. And so as we look at speculations about what's happening to our Earth's magnetic field, other speculations are normal. If we talk about holes in our Earth's magnetic field, could there be other things that could be coming through that are paranormal, but also other things coming through? Now we talk about cosmic rays that could be a detriment to the overall civilization. If there's a detrimental effect to the overall civilization or herd or plantation, would that be adverse to potential alien masters or archonic overlords? Or am I going too far on this Saturday Night Live? But this is the Saturday Night Live conversation that we should be having. And so I want to bring this to your attention. This is what we're looking at tonight. I'm going to read you a little something else. Let's go over here, and then I have something new for you. But yeah, Falcon spaceship. We can get into the specifics, but we're really focusing on why 2022, why 2024. Finishing up my point there, though, there is a strategy with the solar cycles and the magnetic fields and what's happening to the Earth's magnetic field, but also what they're predicting for Mars. I believe it's a stronger magnetic field, and there can also be technologies that can create magnetic fields, also ways of predicting space weather. So there could be types of technologies that they're attempting to work with potentially behind the scenes to create livable spaces for their slave colonies. So there's some serious potential experimentation that's going on here. You know, I really want to give you a number of different pieces of things to look at, though, instead of just rip and read. Okay, this is what we need to get into. 2022, the red dwarf or the red nova, the crashing of KIC 9832227. They predict that these two stars, scientists say, are predicting that they will merge and explode, at which time the star will increase its brightness tenfold. Becoming one of the brightest stars in the heavens for a time. What the hell does that mean? You know, throughout my whole life, I in my imagination, I have envisioned a type of energetic shift. And, or something that could result in a red sky. Something not necessarily world-ending, but world-changing. And again, we have the geopolitical, a lot of things coming together at this point in time. I'm not alone in seeing that. Another reason why I want to be off grid is as we go through these major energy changes, it's difficult to see myself in a city with burning buildings, frankly, with a bunch of people screaming and there being no power. If there's some really big energetic things. Or on another level, maybe not the power grid going out, but really bizarre behavior. I think it's wishful thinking for people to be all of a sudden becoming enlightened and loving all of each other all at once and becoming, you know, acting like they're super psychic and there are no lies and certain things that have been spoon-fed to us by people that have been promised or promising that type of reality over the internet, a lot of these spiritual communities. I don't believe that's the world that we're seeing. There is some positive things that we're seeing, but not that type of fairy tale reality. But see, I just want to be brief with this. There is a parallel between people that have promised that type of, you know, New Age rapture with the Christian rapture, and then we have the Elon Musk and his type of promised new land. A lot of these are playing off that same type of external, somebody come and save us. Jesus, Elon Musk, all these different And some people are so angry with their own government, they'll look at foreign governments as almost saviors in the future, and that'll be propaganda they'll play on us. So these are all these games that are being played on not just the American people, but the people of our society. Those of you that are at the very least able to watch this YouTube channel, but also people that are in other parts of the world that are banned from watching YouTube. I don't believe that we're alone in the universe, but I think there's a lot of manipulations going on with a lot of these crafts and stories that are taking place in the news. I think the real way that the archons are operating in our world is a little bit different than like the craft. And so there's been a lot of that predictive programming with good aliens as well as negative aliens, and various scenarios could play out. It's not guaranteed that there's going to be a scenario they're going to play out where they're coming at us like a threat. You know, there's enough predictive programming also there where it could come at us as some sort of evolution. You know, I remember being at a mall in Dallas, the North Dallas Mall, and here were malls promoting mannequins with elongated necks. So these don't look like normal humanoids to me, what I was seeing at the North Dallas Mall. I don't know if they're still there. You know, and somebody can look at some ideas and go, wow, yeah, Alex, that's too far. And then, whoa, yeah, that's definitely not normal. There's also like a little pyramid where the little kids were jumping up on the pyramid and sliding down. So like there could be plans to like build certain things in within generations to where it's not uncommon for people to be thinking about certain things. Where 50 years ago, the things were just science fiction. But see, they've built a lot of things up into science fiction. So if there's any type of being aware of, wow, this is kind of almost like a parallel to our own world. Oh, you're crazy. You got your idea from a movie. And see, there seems to be a reason why they've inundated our population with so much of this. But the most alarming of all is the sexualization of the youth. And the way that they can slowly introduce a young female, for example, to the idea of Serenade to the Fallen Ones, The Chariots of the Gods, Katy Perry, E.T. And so when that type of law of attraction, almost type of etheric kiss in the dreamland of the fallen ones, that's some dangerous stuff. And so I think that there has been an agenda that's building to sexualize elements of humanity on a deeper level. Maybe the trans movement is connected to that. Maybe it's not. Anything is possible. The sex bots obsession, which is also a controversial topic, seems to be very suspicious as well. You know, people could be programmed to have trust in a robot that could be actually doing something else with their sample. Lastly, I want to get to some of my other news articles, other speculations that I put in that video. It's no longer up. There could be an attempt to, well, there's already concern now about DNA data. But Rh negatives could be bloodlines of interest. I'm not sure, but I've speculated that for a number of years for some reasons. So there's books out there, one's over there, right? One woman's given her account of being basically sexually violated by what she believed to be non-human and human forces at military bases inside the United States. And there's a period in time in which it seems that more people are having memories of those type of things, and the government came out with the False Memory Act. Really? Was it all false memories? So are there cycles when the switch is on and those things happen to women in our country and then things got quiet for a little bit and then the switch is turned back on because of some agreement or whatnot? See, these are just thoughts I have in the dark of night. But see, they didn't start yesterday or the year before. It's been a number of years of looking at these things build and build and build, in which I've come to this general suspicion of Elon Musk and him being a front for something larger. So I brought to you 2022. That's going to be the beginning, by the way, of the solar maximum. So there could be also red nova type events that can contribute to a larger solar cycle. If you've seen videos on YouTube of objects going in and out of the sun, some people think the sun is a wormhole, portal to other dimensions. Is this some type of thing where when the sun is more active, sunspots that we're having portals open and stuff coming in and out? We can also have that go on during the solar minimum. And so it is interesting when you look at the paranormal and solar cycles together. And I'll also let you know, it's probably very few of us on this planet that do that will look at various topics and ask, what do the governments really know? And what are their real projections and real attempts? What are their real setbacks? because, of course, we're dealing with the Tower of Babel almost situation to where there are these attempts maybe to get off to a certain point. We also don't know the full story of who's in charge and what type of powers they're really working with. A lot of the stuff from the New Age lore has been that, they've been kept quarantined within the Earth plane. And some of the stuff has come from the channeled realms, which is highly suspicious. So we don't know if that's to be the greater reality. Also, there's been a lot of information also put out on Coast to Coast, some of it legitimate, maybe some of it not. I think some of it's great. I think some of it not so much. But ideas have been proposed that we're not necessarily dealing with entities that are outside of our Earth sphere, ETs. We're not necessarily dealing with ETs. A lot of people disqualify the idea that something else is going on by saying ETs are outside our reality without discounting stuff parallel to our reality or inside the Earth. I think that is possible, especially with the potential overlay within our own government and the obsession with underground bases. It's very possible. And being underground can shield some entities from the effects of the harmful cosmic ray radiation, especially going very deep. And so there's theories about how potential, I'm not going to go that far on you, but potential other forms of life, protected from the harmful effects of cosmic radiation, able to live for a certain amount of time. So in parts of the ocean and deep parts of the Earth, as opposed to living on the surface. So again, it's a big reality out there, folks. It's not just the surface of the Earth and outer space, billions of light years away. And the way they package it in the mainstream and the way that people like to laugh and joke about people that think outside the box, they're not even thinking about all the possibilities that are actually out there. So the SpaceX program has been also active on the West Coast. That's what's happening right now. There was a recent story about something falling out of the sky. So people are getting used to, hey, look at those things that look like UFOs. Oh, those aren't UFOs. Those aren't aliens. That's just another Elon Musk project. Well, gee, we're really going to the future really quickly. Then maybe we can end up in a future where everything is a drone owned by Elon Musk or everything is just SpaceX. And so then there are no more things to question. Think about that. We wake up in a reality, oh no, you don't need to question anything. And we've already seen this with the use of military helicopters in urban environments for anti-terrorism purposes, like in Portland, Oregon. Okay. Solar minimum crowd. This is for you. This bud's for you. NASA Voyager 2 has detected an increase in cosmic rays that originate from outside our solar system. Since 2007, the probe has been traveling through the outermost layer of the heliosphere. And so as we go into our solar minimum, we see an increase in cosmic rays. For those of you that don't already know that, and cosmic rays can pose somewhat of a problem depending on how much damage they can cause. Who knows? Maybe there's some other spiritual offsets to the cosmic rays. But these are things that are believed to increase miscarriages and increase cancer rates. And so if there is knowledge that a government has that we are going into a grand solar minimum, collapse of civilization, of course there would be billionaires and others, and of course front men that would potentially be used that are, talking to the public and going on shows like Joe Rogan so they can be humanized to popularize this idea of civilization needing to go off-world and it being a really deep obsession. I think we need to be more focused on being grounded here, the Earth, and not just thinking that we can mess things up and just the mentality of that I think is wrong. Just like someone, just trash your property, light it on fire, and go somewhere else. No, clean up your own mess. Don't make the county do that. But on a civilization level, let's just promote, so we can what? Take some plastic garbage patches out there and put them on their oceans? Oh yeah, that'll be nice. See, this is not a Stargate episode, my friends. This is the real world. And Elon Musk has been brought out there to be a celebrity for this in the day and age, and I'm bringing a couple different ideas together. Good men, a lot of good men have already left mainstream society. Some are in good mainstream society, women as well, but a lot of people are going outside the box of the norm. The point of this is, and in the breakdown of good relationships, and in the breakdown of the protective male, and a lot of women with technology, yes, it's helped them empower their lives to a certain degree. The cell phone, and often does, provide a false sense of security. What if someone steals that cell phone or catches someone? It happens all the time. The point is, the cell phone isn't your ultimate protector, but it's the guide, it's the link to the state, it's the link to the government. And so in a way, it's an asset. In another way, it tracks someone. There's a number of different points with this. During a meltdown in the future, and of course, cell phones replacing the men, well, with the cell phones down, you have a vulnerable female population. I think a lot of this I should get into in another video. I've talked about it for years, but it's the idea that there seems to be a harvest. And I would say a harvest of a certain type of number of women, of certain types of bloodlines used for reproductive purposes. You don't know what's going on, and neither do I, but we've seen enough predictive programming. I think there's enough clues. There's the natural progression of things. So if there are certain things that may have happened that Whitley Strieber has talked about, and George Norrie himself, having many people on, people have talked about electronic chips that they found. No, I'm not of the belief that all this is of some super elite government. I think this is above and beyond. I think there are things that are above and beyond, that are of the paranormal, that are beyond human, and I always have. That doesn't mean everything has, or everything is. I think that some people actually put the CIA and our own government up to almost godlike status, and I think that's ridiculous. I think that's almost like psychosis. I think there really is paranormal, and I think that's actually very disrespectful for people to treat people like they're crazy for looking in directions like that until it interests them. And then they want to look in that direction, or someone's particular interpretation of the archons or something like that. I mean, if we're going to have a real honest conversation about the archons in our world, take a look at the foreign policy. Take a look at the long-term plan for the foreign policy. Take a look at how these various presidents haven't changed the foreign policy, and the people are fighting amongst themselves, almost as if it's some sort of reptilian bloodbath. Like that scene from Johnny Depp in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and he's on the LSD and he's seeing the reptoids, man. Whoa, dude, it's a little too deep, man. But you don't have to be on LSD to have that trip, although it does help to have a little bit of mushrooms. And I've had my experiences. I've had my experiences in Portland, Oregon, with mushrooms in a city, in a grid, and then that brings out a perception of, yeah, we're not alone in this reality. It's been a long time since I've done that. But I've done things like that straight up in the city, in the downtown core. It was like, shh, I can see the dark grid now. This is no joke. It's like, here they come in. It's like something out of a paranormal movie. And tell you what, I didn't get deep into that stuff, but it was in the year 2000, which I had a big trip. 2000, so like 5 years before my first show on Outside the Box TV. Now my life was rattled up. I'm going to bring this to a conclusion here. Don't drink the Elon Musk Kool-Aid if it comes out, and don't get on that. Don't get in any cars with strangers. Heaven forbid, spaceships. And your daughter, please, do I really have to? Hopefully you got the point. He's a really suspicious dude. Something's going on. We seem to be in the crosshairs. A lot of people have this false confidence again in these cell phones. These things could be used for tracking. That was my point that I forgot. The grid could go down. They could have already disrupted the family unit. But while that cell phone may not seem to be working, it could be a tracking device. It could be a tracking device, and it could be used to find a particular person. Again, we're being inundated with alien invasion movies. Is it there to numb us out? Because clearly we're reading it. Would it really be in the interest of human beings to alter our DNA? What was I just reading about with no male required? Yeah, we just spliced some DNA together. First mammal with two mothers is born as gene editing breakthrough creates mouse with no father. Now, how did I learn about that? Well, on Twitter, Timmy Coyne was really inspired by this and went, wow, and retweeted it. And, that's interesting and all, but what I found it interesting, I was looking at Timmy Coyne to see what more they were about because they're so into DNA. And a big part of their marketing thing is, we're not, here's another one, scientists link brains with revolutionary device. And again, a lot of things you can read about with regards to solar minimum and cosmic rays. So just a lot of different things there. People are talking about making money off their DNA through the blockchain. And they go on these rants about blasting off to space. And we're hearing about like this grid that's just so open source, and it's just so open, and all these people are involved in this new wave of technology to bring forth this new paradigm and smash away the old paradigm. Is anyone else suspicious about this? So I'm just going to wrap up my thoughts there while I still have power. I want to thank also those of you, Jared, others, many others in the past, also people on Patreon. I would thank the 14 of you over there, the 20-some subscribers at outsidethebox.vhx.tv. I want to create more content at this point in time. Taking me a little, I had to do some additional tweaking on my software to get this to work as it should. So I'm glad that we're here. I'm getting ready to go into a winter. We have this Halloween season. There's obviously a number of topics that I could get into. Feel free to make a request, and I'll see if I can get into it, or if it's super controversial, maybe for the other platform. Till next time, I'm Alex Ansary, reminding you the path to the ultimate truth and place of power still lies within.